All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Will Stroll. I'm going to be conducting today's web seminar. We're going to be talking about some of the features and things that you can use in Professional Edition to effectively engage with your website visitors, people that you have coming to your website using your mobile devices, so whether that's an actual handheld or a tablet or whatnot. But before we get started, we do have a little bit of typical housekeeping for a webinar that we want to take care of real quick. And the first thing is, can you hear me okay? So if you can hear me, there's this raise your hand feature in the webinar software and the control panel. Just go ahead and raise your hand. Let me know that you can hear my voice. Excellent. I was kind of worried about that. All right. Next thing is, can you see me? So if you can see that little tree in the middle of that slide, you go ahead and raise your hand one more time. Excellent. Thank you so much for your attention there, and I appreciate you interacting with the software to help us there. All right. So before we actually get started with the topic, I just want to do this cool thing, let you know that please ask whatever questions you possibly can. We will go ahead and answer as many of those as we can at the end of the webinar, and anything that we do not get to, we'll go ahead and shoot you a personal email and answer you personally within the next 48 hours or less. But also, if you have other questions that you would like, immediate answers to or anything like that, we do have a community exchange on our website. It's basically a question and answer type feature, so it's similar to a forum, but it's a lot better for a question and answer type of discussion. So you can find that at answers.dotnetnuke.com. Now today's agenda, basically, first of all, we're going to go over some prerequisites for today's webinar, just briefly. And going to have to tell you who DotNetNuke is. I'm sure there's some people on the webinar that's never heard of us, so we're going to go ahead in that head in that direction for just a little bit. And then we're going to go into a demonstration. And the demonstration is going to be kind of 3 levels. We're going to show you some of the features that administrators will work with. And then I'm going to show you just a few of the things that designers as well as developers would be able to work with these mobile features. Then we'll kind of go ahead and wrap this up with talking about some available products and services to help you with your mobile endeavors with .NET and then, of course, Q&A at the end. All right, so prerequisites. First of all, there is a mobile web seminar, or excuse me, a web seminar that happened a week ago. So it's recorded, it's out there, it's ready for you to view. It talks about basically, some of the things you need to think about before you roll out your website. So that's a great webinar that you should probably take some time to see if you haven't already. And we also have a white paper that you should take a look at as well. It's kind of a great complement to that webinar, and we'll go ahead and make sure you get the links to both of those as well at the end of this webinar. So let's go ahead and talk about .NET just briefly, and we'll go ahead and get through this pretty quickly. But if you haven't heard of .NET, there's this opportunity that .NET allows you to have. So first of all, if you think about websites, 10 years ago, everything was very static, very read-only. Things were not very easily interacted with. So, it was, if you had a dynamic website, it's because you had a lot of talent and you had a lot of resources, and that's the only way you could really have some sort of e-commerce or shopping cart type solution. But the most important thing is, in 2000, you didn't know what was going to be important in the next 10 years. So things like e-commerce, social, mobile, those things, there's really very little you could do to project or figure out how important those would be to your website today. And so these are things that DotNetNuke helps you to solve today. But what we're really here for you is to always be there to figure out what is going to be important to your website in the next 10 years and make sure that you can be able to react to those types of features and have the best-in-class solutions for those needs. So whether we're talking about social or workflow or document management or today mobile, what is it in the future? So we're going to make sure that you have the ability to adapt to that without having to incur a whole lot of cost and effort on your end. So basically what that addresses is your ability to respond to that fast and very unpredictable change, that business agility. And so we know your website is your most important business asset, so we make sure that we provide the best-of-class solution to allow you to manage your website content all in one place and make sure that you can react quickly and affordably. Now, DotNetNuke, just a couple things about us. We are the largest .NET content management system on the Microsoft stack. We know that for many reasons. One of the things is we have over 2,000 customers in the very short 3 years that we've been around. And last year we were awarded, first awarded the Inc. 500 award. We were 23 in overall in software and number 9 in the Bay Area, so that's Silicon Valley if you're not familiar with it. So we're very proud of those things, and we are back on the Inc. list this year. Just some company highlights, some of the reasons that you should know that you're not without resources. You're always going to have a way to move forward. One of the things is you're not the only one doing this. There's well over 700,000 known production websites out there that are running .NETNuke. And there's over 1 million community members that are out there using .NETNuke on a daily basis. They're people just like you. They're designers, they're administrators, they're developers. There are all kinds of people. They're content editors. So there's a lot of people out there that are doing exactly what you're doing, and so you're going to always have resources, whether you're going to our community forums or otherwise. The other thing is we do have a commercial app marketplace. We're the only one in the web content management space with a commercial marketplace. We have over 10,000 extensions available for you to choose from in that marketplace. So the great thing about that is, if you start rolling out your website, you basically determine, oh, you know what, I need this new feature. And instead of having to go and have somebody build something for you, you can go check out the store, and chances are it's already built for you, and you can go ahead and use it. Some of them are free, most of them are not, and you just go in there and install it. So very much like you have the experience with your smartphone when you first walk out of the phone store, you decide, I need this, I need that, I start installing things, and you walk out of there and you have the phone that you want. You have that same experience with your .NETNuke website. You can install everything right from within the platform. You don't even need to visit the store website to do that. Kind of talking about vertical, there's everything that you can think of here, from hospitality to government to military to financial, retail. Everything that you can think of is here. So you're not going to be alone here. A lot of people are using .NETNuke for various number of needs, whether they're public-facing websites or internal websites, branding, all kinds of things. So you have a lot of resources here. Now, the other thing is, you are, it doesn't matter what size company you are, you can use .NETNuke effectively, and it will fit your solution. You can be as small as a 5-person company, or you can be as large as Time Warner Cable, as an example. They have over 47,000 people in their organization, so you can use .NETNuke no matter what size organization you are. And kind of the final thing about how we can help you, we had a third party go ahead and do a survey of our customers a couple months ago, and we had some very interesting results that were validating the return on investment that our customers were experiencing. First of all, 95% of our customers said they were able to improve their efficiency. 94% said they were able to save time and money. .NETNuke helped them do that. And then finally, we have 81% of people said they can deliver their solutions faster with .NETNuke than their typical scenario. In fact, we have a case study on our website where one organization mentions that the time that it usually took them to deliver websites, they say that they were able to roll out websites 600% faster. And for them, that's an amazing number. But let's go ahead and talk about the mobile features. We're all done with that. So .NETNuke Mobile is in version 6.1 and newer. We're currently on version 6.2.3 out there, so the features are well matured at this point. But basically, when we talk about mobile, and this is kind of leads back to one of those prerequisites, there's many methods for supporting your mobile presence, and this is not an all-inclusive list. There's methods of just having a copy of your desktop site, and just making sure that it's responsive enough for your mobile visitors. There's having a mobile optimized site, so having basically you have your desktop site, and then next to it you have your mobile site that is specific to your mobile visitors. And then you of course have your mobile apps, so those are actual applications that people install on their phones to interact with your website or your content or your brand or whatnot. And you can do the combination of the above as well. And one of the things that we talked about in the last web seminar is a mobile optimized site is really the best case scenario. And I'm not going to go ahead and go through that in great detail. Go ahead and see that webinar, and you can get all the details on that. So we're about to jump into the agenda, or excuse me, it's the demonstration. So basically, we're going to be going over the mobile features. We're going to be doing an overview of that. We're going to talk just briefly about mobile design. We're not going to go in great detail. This isn't meant to be a training session. We do have great training, and so we can do that, or you can take advantage of that. And then, of course, mobile development. So I'm going to go show you just a little bit of that as well. So that way, you're going to get kind of a full-rounded picture of the mobile features that are available to you to produce the best-of-class sites that you deserve. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into this demonstration. Give me a second. I'm going to be switching windows here. All right. I just switched windows, and everything should be working okay. Just go ahead and, once again, can you raise your hands one more time, see if you can see that demo website? Excellent. Thank you. All right, so this is one of my demo websites I'm going to be showing you today. This is basically almost a raw install of DotNetNuke. But we have this presence for our demo website called Awesome Cycles. So it's basically a fictitious bicycle store that is obviously very, very awesome. They have products and services that relate to selling bicycles, servicing them, and so on. So they of course will have a community presence. So they have the social features and people interacting with their content and their brand. But it's one thing to be able to do the typical things that we have on our website, whether we're talking about our services or we're going ahead and talking about who we are. I'm not sure why that, there we go, our services are talking about who we are, or, we're talking about different types of things that are happening with our organization. So this is, pretty much a standard experience for a lot of websites, including having some footer information about, some little bit about who they are and how to contact them. But one of the things that you'd want to do is make sure that you have a mobile optimized presence for that, because think about what you do on a daily basis. More than likely, when you think that of a brand or something you need to do, or you're looking for something that even if you're looking for a bicycle store, you're on the road, the first thing you do is search on your phone more than likely, and then you're going to end up on that website. So you don't want to necessarily serve up that desktop version of your site. You need a mobile optimized version, so that way you're not distressing or otherwise annoying the people that are coming to your site, these customers, these leads that you have that would otherwise be paying you money, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose the method today to basically, this is going to be the best way to highlight all of the features that we're going to talk about today, but we're going to go the method of creating a new website. This is going to basically be the mobile version of this site. And so in order to do that, I'm going to need to log in as the most privileged user in DotNetNuke, and that's simply something known as the host user or the super user. So I'm going to log in as this person. And when I log in, a lot of things will change. I'm not going to go into all these different things that have changed on the page, but you can see that the editing environment is now available to me. And we do have webinars that go over all these editing features, so I do invite you to visit those as well. But one of the things that we can do is in our host menu, because we are privileged, we can see this, we can create new websites. And so when we go in here, the second feature that we see here is website management or site management. And so this is where we can add, modify, and delete websites. We can also do things like create, we can also create templates of websites. So if we had, if my organization was a type of organization that rolls out websites that are very similar over and over again, I can create a template here as well of an existing website to give me a great starting point for new sites. It's incredibly easy to add a new site. So if I go over here, I have this nice manage menu, and I'm going to go ahead and choose Add New Site. And when I do, I can add new sites in a multitude of ways. If I want to, the default method is parent, so I can say mobile.awesomecycles, for example. Or whatever domain name I want. It doesn't have to be a subdomain. Or I can choose the child method, which we're going to do today just because it's going to be easier. I won't have to log in, log off, or log off, log in, all that kind of stuff. But basically, the only difference is the child site is basically a subdirectory or subfolder off of your main website. So that's the difference between those. But we're going to create one, and I'm going to call it Awesome Cycles. well, actually, Awesome Cycles mobile website, so that's their mobile version. And then we have these templates. I mentioned templates just a moment ago. So we have templates in many different languages. For today's webinar, we're going to choose the mobile website template, put the one in English. So we're going to choose that one. And then we're going to go ahead and create the site. Now the cool thing about this is, I don't have to be a technical person to know what I just did. Basically in the background, I did all kinds of fun stuff about changing things in the database and all kinds of things. And what we end up with is a mobile version of our website. So you can see here, my URL is my Awesome Cycles domain with the mobile after it, and I'm on my home page for my mobile site. But you can see that while I have some mobile content here, or some content here, it's almost a duplicate of what we have on the rest of the site. So if I go to pages like products and services, we have pretty much the same content and the same information, but it's basically in a more compact format. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually resize the screen. Let me take this off. There we go. All right, I'm going to resize the screen. So right now we're basically, even though we're looking at this on a desktop, what we're looking at is, it's more optimized for a tablet, obviously, because a tablet is similar in size. And if I go ahead and resize this to a smaller dimension, so something more like your handheld devices instead of a tablet, you can see that we have a smaller version of the content. All the content reacted in a way that's resized and is optimized for the experience, the browsing experience of looking at the website on a mobile device. And then, of course, the menu also changed. So we have a touch-friendly menu versus on our desktop site, it was very much a mouse-friendly menu, because it had kind of hover menus and things like that. And if you've ever tried to use a hover menu on a mobile device, it just basically does not work. But we can still interact with the site. You can see that now the content that is kind of list-based is more in a vertical format, so we have it like that. The child links are now at the bottom of the content, so that's kind of a best practice. If you look at anybody who's been doing this for many years, people like ESPN and CNN and so on, you'll see that type of interaction. And when we go ahead and choose also this page, if I go ahead and excuse me, I'm trying to drag it here. If we change it, you can see how it automatically changes. Or if we change it to a dimension of more like a tablet, you can see how it automatically brings and changes the menu system to react to that different dimension. So some of you might know like the area here called a viewport, but basically it's the size of your window. So the way that's happening is something in the background called responsive rendering. This is a technique where you can change your content, you can change your design, you can change all kinds of things based upon the dimensions and the type of device that you're using. And how you implement that is completely up to you. What you get as a customer is a website template that shows you exactly how to do that, and you're looking at it right now. It shows you exactly how to do that, so you can just repurpose this for your own needs, or just use it to learn the techniques that we are putting in here for you. We have this mobile website template. Now the other cool thing about this is we have also something called a previewer. So we're looking at our website right now in these different pages. But what if we wanted to see this site as if we were using a different device? I don't know about you, but sometimes when you have to test these things, what you end up doing is bothering the guy in the cube or the office next to you and like, hey dude, I don't have the iPhone or I don't have the Android phone, can you show me the site real quick? And their phone may be different, or maybe different than somebody else's, especially when you start talking about Windows phones and Blackberries and Android. There's multiple types and styles and sizes, multiple tablets, and so it gets really expensive if you want to really look at how your website looks on all these different devices. And in other cases, it gets really annoying, like my original example there. So what we have is this thing we call a previewer here. Those of you that are more technical might think of this as kind of like an online emulator. But if I choose previewer, we can see the site in these different devices. So right now what we're looking at is the website as if we were using a BlackBerry Bold 9000. So that's the default choice there. And we can still interact with the website. We can click on pages. We can scroll through here. We can look at all these different things. But it's giving you the form factor, and as well as it's emulating the fact that I'm using a different device. And I can also switch to landscape mode. So if I turn my phone, how does that look? And I can continue to interact with it. So if I wanted to, I can choose another device. Like let's look at the iPhone 4. That's an old phone as of this week, right? But we have the landscape mode where we can continue to work with this website as if we had that device in our hand. So we don't have to have it in our organization. We can go ahead and test it here. So we can go ahead and choose to go to portrait. And then, if there's various tablets out there you want to test, you can do that as well. So we can go ahead and maximize the window. And, it's going to be the same experience no matter what device that you choose. So you have this nice preview to save you time and effort in testing for these different devices. Now, so that's kind of some of the overview of some of these features, but at this point what we've done is something very simple. We've created a mobile version of our website, but the interesting thing is, now that we have a mobile version of our website, we do need to get people to it somehow. So how do we do that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that going back to our original desktop version of our site. And in here, we're going to go to the admin menu instead of the host menu. And there's a couple features here that I'm going to talk about. And the first one is site redirection management. So we want to get people to our website. How do we do that? Well, we can redirect them. And basically, we have a nice user interface here where you can go ahead and choose how you want to do this. The first option here is basically a default option. So it says create a mobile website redirection. And what that means to you is basically a catch-all mobile website redirection. So if I click create, basically I don't have pretty much any options here. I can just say, you know what, I'm redirecting from home to this other site. So it's not very exciting. This is not the method I want to show you. I'm going to choose instead, it says advanced options, but I call this the fun method because you get to click on some cool things. So I'm going to click create here. Now this one's a little bit different. We get to specify exactly how we want this to work. So we can do things like device targeting or capability targeting. We can create a hierarchy of rules just like you would with workflow, to where it first checks, hey, do you match this rule? No, move to the next one, and it keeps going through the list that you create until it matches a rule, and then it goes ahead and does that action. So for example, the first rule I'm going to create here is called iPhone. I'm going to create a rule to redirect iPhone users. And to keep things simple for today's demo, I'm going to just redirect from site to site. But look, you can redirect any way you want. So if you only want certain pages that are mobile going to other sites, you can. Or you can redirect from the entire site. And the same thing as redirect to. So if you simply wanted to redirect from site to site, you can do that. Or you can redirect to specific landing pages, so you can have pages within the site. Or if you already have a mobile site, you can just redirect to that other URL. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just keep it simple. I'm coming from site to site. The last setting here is what rule will match this, right? So am I going to do this for all mobile phones? Probably not, because I said I'm creating an iPhone rule. All tablets, or both mobile phones and tablets, so that's basically anybody that's not on a desktop device, they will get redirected. Or we can go advanced. So that's, once again, my label for fun. All right, so the first thing is the capability. So we create rules based upon a capability and what the matching value will be. But it may be kind of scary here, but look at this. You don't have to know a lot of information. Like for example, if I want to say make a rule for iPhone, one of the first things that we know is that it is a mobile device. I'm going to choose is mobile, and if it is a mobile device, which would be true, so that's the matching value. That's one rule. So now I'm matching all mobile devices. But we need to get more granular. We need to match mobile devices that are iPhones. So I'm going to come back in here, and one of the next options here is platform name. If you're not aware, the platform name for iPhone is iOS, and I'll show you where you can actually look this stuff up right within the system here. But I'm going to choose iOS, and then go ahead and click that. So now I have a rule that basically has two capabilities. It checks to see if it is mobile, and if it is a platform of iOS, then it must be an iPhone. So it's really easy. It's just basically just a series of clicks here, and I can go ahead and save this rule. I'm going to create another one, though. I'm going to create one more. I'm going to call this Android phones. And I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. In the real world, you'd obviously have a different site or something, or you'd have a reason to create multiple rules. So you can create these rules based upon capabilities. For example, I'm doing this based upon types of phones, but you can maybe do it on flash support or sizes of the viewing dimensions. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. So for example, you can see that a lot of different device properties that you will be able to take advantage of. So you can target the devices and the users exactly how you want. So you can see there's a lot of different choices here. Do they support JavaScript? There's all kinds of things here you can choose. But we chose to do, or we decided to do a Android device. So we're going to, or Android phone. And so I'm going to do pretty much the same thing here. Is mobile, and this time in platform name, I'm going to choose Android. So there we go. Chose Android. So probably two of the most popular phones right now. And now we have a set of rules starting to build up. So this is that rule hierarchy I was mentioning earlier. Now the cool thing about this is right now iPhone is ahead of Android, so if that rule is matched, it doesn't have to go to the next rule. So one of the cool things about that is, let's say iPhone 3 months ago was the most popular mobile device on our website. We're looking at Google Analytics or whatnot, we can see that. But all of a sudden today we see, whoa, Android phones. Like 80% of my mobile visitors are now Android phones. So one of the things that you could do here is, instead of forcing all of your mobile visitors to 80% of your traffic to move through all the rules to find the Android phone rule, you can just go ahead and reorder it. So we can just go ahead and drag it, drop it, and save. And so now we have our settings saved. Now I'm going to go ahead and show how some of this is put together. I'm going to go back to the admin menu. And we have the device preview management feature as well. So the device preview management feature, when I come in here, this is where it chooses, or this is where you can decide what different profiles you have in that previewer tool. Remember that previewer tool right here? This is where we can add new ones. So for example, if you haven't heard, the iPhone 5 is coming out. So I can put in here iPhone, and you can see it's not in the list yet. This is a brand new phone. But iPhone 5, and the iPhone 5, it has different dimensions and properties. So one of the things that I wasn't able to find out there yet that's not official is the actual screen size, the viewing screen size. So I'm just going to make one up here. It's slightly bigger than the other one, the iPhone 4, and then the user agent string. So that's all you need for this. Now the interesting thing about this is I can just create this, and now I have a rule, and maybe I want to order this exactly where I want it, so I have that same experience as before. Oops, I didn't put it quite where I wanted it. There we go. But this doesn't have to be just for mobile devices. Think about being able to search or put in user agents here and look at your website as if you're a search engine. You can put any user agent in here that you want and basically look at your site as the other device or the other application. So this is a pretty powerful feature. And then at this point, what you'll have is, if I come actually back into my previewer, one of the choices now will be the iPhone 5. And so now I can start to troubleshoot my site, make sure that when people start buying the phone, I'm all ready and set to go. Now, so that's the previewer. Now, all this stuff is tied together, though, by something we call a device detection repository. And so that is managed in our host menu. Now we're back in our host menu. And we have this device detection management feature that's available to you here. Now this feature allows you to have, and as a customer, you have the premium version of the data, so that means you're going to have all devices, all properties, and you're going to have automatic updates of all these properties and devices on a weekly basis. And so what you see here is, if you're in an offline environment where you have a firewall, you can go ahead and upload the most recent data, but it will happen for you. But what we can also see here is that I can actually drill down into here and see what different devices there are and what their properties are and look into it. So, for example, we just did an iPhone, and so we can go through Apple. If we didn't know what the platform name was, all we do is come into here, we drill into it, I found the iPhone, and now I can go ahead and look and see, okay, what are the properties here? Okay, is mobile, okay, I need to set that to true. And then we can go ahead and come down in here and see all these other properties. And then look right here, we have platform name, iOS. So this gives you a very easy way to figure these things out. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or super technical. You can just look it up, and then you can go build your rules after. So this is a very useful feature for you. Now the next thing I'm going to go into is we're going to go ahead and look at some of the other features that we have within design. So we're going to step into the design area real quick. So you saw, if you remember, let's go ahead and go back to our mobile site. So we have this nice control panel where I can just jump to another site here. So I can go ahead and switch, and now I'm on my mobile site. Now in here, you saw that how things reacted using responsive design. We even have things like our view our full site link and so on. These are more features that are available to you, and let me go ahead and show you how these work out. So I'm bringing up a development environment. Don't worry about that, and I'm not going to go into great detail. So if you're non-technical, I'm not going to do anything that I hope will detract you for a while. But I am going to go through some of these, some of this information. I'm going to, some of the information that is available to you in your organization. So what I have over here is the file system for this website, and we have a design in here. Our designs are called skins. We have a design in here that's specific to mobile. So if we look at the available skins here, we have the default one, that was the desktop site, and then we have our mobile version. And in here we can see that there's a couple different layouts. And I'm not going to be training you on design right now, but you can see that layouts can be in a user control format, if you know what that is, or they can be just HTML files. That's completely up to you. But if we look at how this is put together, I'm going to go ahead and open up this home layout. So this is the home page, and just to kind of show you that, this is the home page right here. And we have the ability to, and in here we have some things that are specified. So you have the ability to specify metadata in your design. So we can see that it's basically setting up some a preset for a mobile environment. So it's doing the viewport size. For the crawler that comes with DotNetNuke, it's saying do index. For the crawler that's for any other like search engine, it's telling it not to index because you probably want your desktop version indexed over your mobile version. And there's a lot of other things that are available to it here. So one of the things is the link to full site. You don't have to do that manually. Because you saw that is managed through the website platform, you as a designer shouldn't have to update the link every time somebody changes the domain or something like that. Basically, this is more dynamic. If you're using the HTML version of this, you simply put in a placeholder, and that placeholder gets translated to what you see right here. And then DotNetNuke does the rest of the magic there to figure out what the right link is and whether or not it should show it, and so on. Now, you can see here that there is a default support for jQuery. So we have, you can see there's a lot of jQuery going on here. But we now are interacting with the website via jQuery. So we can see that if something is visible, we're changing things, and if it's not, we're changing things again. So that's part of the menu template functionality that is changing the different view of the template, or excuse me, different view of the menu template. So that would be the difference between whether we had this full menu or if we just had the menu button and we touched it and then it expanded. So we have all these things here. And then, of course, it's take advantage of the resize function. So if it is resized, it does some things as well. Now, the interesting thing about this is the menu templates are also here. So you can see that we have two different menu templates here. So one is this mobile nav right here is the one that's above, and then the sub nav is the one that would show up below if we had child navigation like in About Us. So instead of being up top, it would be down below. So all these things are right in the design for you. Now we also have, I mentioned something called responsive design. So let's go ahead and close out the home page, and we have the CSS. So we support HTML5, CSS3, and all those fun things. So you can design in any methods that you want. But you can see here that this is just a typical, it's very much in-depth written, but this is a typical CSS class here. So what we have here, what I just wanted to show you here is the media queries down below. So CSS3 introduced the ability for having media queries. In CSS2, you had the ability to specify differences for media. It didn't work all that great. But in CSS3, you can see here that if we're using a media device and the screen has a minimum width of 768 pixels, so this is basically a desktop version of the site, we have a different design being specified and all kinds of images and things being specified differently for the desktop site versus the mobile site. So the other way that we're doing this through responsive design, and this is once again, it doesn't completely cover responsive design. There's training for that, and but right here we can see that there's a difference here for our mobile devices, and of course there's less things on the page when you have a mobile device, so it's not as much information. But you can see that if it has a maximum width of 480 pixels, it's more than likely a tablet or below. So we have the two different versions here. So that's responsive design. It's not, once again, not meant to be a class here, but just to kind of show you that you can take advantage of it in .NET Nuke. The last thing I want to show you here is I mentioned HTML5. In your skin designs, we have these things called XML files. This is one of many methods that you can use to specify the document type. So if you're somebody that knows things about corpse mode, things like that, this is where you come and specify your doc type, and in this case, HTML5. So that's kind of it for the design area. I wasn't going to show you how to build a mobile design. That would in itself be several webinars. But I just wanted to kind of show you that these things are possible. Now the last thing I want to show you is the development side. So I went ahead and built a module last night. I used Chris Hammond. He's our director of training programs. I used his mobile template. And I got this built in just like 20 minutes or something. But basically I have a module built to where it's going to react differently for different devices. And so let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go back over here, but I'm going to a different demo website. This one happens to be a development version of the site that you were looking at before. And for those of you that are developers, there's not much difference. I just basically have a different installation on a different website. But what I have here is a page here for mobile. So I created a page, I called it mobile, and that module I'm about to show you, this is it. It's showing you different messages based upon who you are. So you can see here, right now it's telling me that this message will be shown to desktop users. And there's nothing for mobile devices because I'm not a mobile device right now. But let's go ahead and we're going to log in as a host user. So we can use that previewer tool. Actually, we don't have to be a host user, but that's actually the only user on this particular website right now. So nothing's changed. But if we go ahead and we use the previewer feature, let me go ahead and use the previewer. And we're going to go ahead and maximize this. If we look at this as a BlackBerry Bold, you can see that the messages are different. This will be shown to mobile users, and this will be shown to BlackBerry users. So we're clearly using a BlackBerry phone here. If I switch to iPhone, the messages are different, so we can see the type of device is mobile, and we can see that it's an Apple device. Let me go ahead and change this to landscape. You can see that a little bit better all in one shot. If we choose anything else, it's like the Nokia N97, for example. We can see that it's not picking up the mobile device, but it is, or the type of mobile device. It's obviously a different one than I have rules for. But you can see that it is showing for mobile users. And then let's just do one or two more. HTC Incredible. So this one is going to be shown to mobile users, and this will be shown to Android devices. So this is an Android mobile device. Now, what I'm trying to illustrate for you here is that not only can you specify things through design, and by the way, you can use code in your design. It doesn't have to be just HTML. You can use programming logic, obviously, since you're using user controls. But we can control things from the UI as a content editor. We can control things through the design as a designer. And now I'm about to show you how you can do these things as a developer as well. So if I go back to my my Visual Studio, this is typically the editor of choice for people that are building .NET applications as well as DotNetNuke modules. But this is the view that we've been looking at. So you can see that these are the same messages we've been looking at this entire time. And if we actually look at the source code, if you are somebody that knows code, there's not a whole lot going on here. So I have my header and messages, and then I have these panels that I'm going to show and hide via code, and with basically a well-formatted message. So you can see that here it's just very simple stuff. I'm showing to desktop, to mobile, to tablet, and then I go through the types of mobile devices. Now, the way this is all put together is incredibly simple. We've made this so simple for you to be able to target people's capabilities and phones. So all you have to do is to be able to get to these different devices and capabilities is this one line of code here. We create a property or an object that is basically gets the current client capabilities. That's all we do here. And so the way I'm doing all these messages is, we have a desktop label, right? And so I make it visible. If it's not a mobile device and it's not a tablet, it must be a desktop device. In the other case, if it is mobile, then of course we're going to show the mobile message. And then is tablet. And I do something very similar here with the types of devices. So remember in all these things, let me go back to our host menu and show you one more thing here. In the device detection management, basically everything that we find here for any device. So let me go ahead and just search for iPhone here and find it, and we're going to go right to it. Anything that's in this list, you can take and react to, either in your design or in your development, and it's obviously within the rules that we're building in the user interface. We can use all of these, and so basically what I'm doing is using these, and I say, you know what, I'm going to get an object here. I'm going to load it with whatever the capability value is for platform name. So you saw me choose that in the drop-down list earlier. And then I say, you know what? If the Android label, I'm going to make that visible if it's Android, if the platform name is Android, and I do the same for iPhone, for BlackBerry, and for Windows Phone. So it's incredibly easy to be able to do logic based upon the device capabilities or the device names or anything like that. You have this all available to you. So you have the best of all three worlds here. Now we're going to go ahead and start to, we're going to go back to our slideshow here real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of these environments. And give me just a second as I bring this back up. There we go. So that's it for the demonstration. We're going to go ahead and get to the Q&A in just a moment. Now, basically, what I hope I showed you with mobile capabilities is that's incredibly easy to set up. Whether regardless to whether you're a designer or a developer, and especially if you're a content editor, you can manage this. It's incredibly simple. In my opinion, and I can be a super critical person, we can get that wrong sometimes, and we did a fantastic job with these features. We really did. They're all customizable. So whether we're talking about the features in the user interface, you can create customized mobile websites. You can basically make sure that you have the best load time on mobile devices. When you create your custom mobile site, you're addressing context. So instead of showing people all the options on your site on your mobile device, when they're coming to your site on a mobile device, you're considering the reason they're coming to you on their mobile device. They're in a hurry. They just want to find your location and not look through all the About Us and all those things. So those are the type of things we covered in the last webinar once again. Responsive design, you can use it. Now, whether we're talking about XHTML, HTML5, CSS3, then media queries, responsive design is completely up to you. So if you wanted to have a single website and it just reacts to people, you can do that, or you can use it on both sides of the coin. So it's all available to you. Device detection, whether it's something that a user is doing as a content editor, or if we're doing it in code, or in our design. We can do device detection as well as take advantage of the redirection. So for those of you that are developers out there, everything that you see in DotNetNuke that is clickable and you can react to and you can create rules and all those things, everything in there is based upon an open API. So if you wanted to do any of these things in your own development, with your own applications and your own content, your own data, you can. You can do it in your own modules. It's very easy to do, as I've just shown you. And then, with extensibility, the API support is completely there for you. That's basically what I was just mentioning. So basically, today we talked about mobile, but if you're not familiar with Professional and Enterprise Edition, there are a ton of features out there. So we have a lot of other content and information. If you want to know more, please revisit our webinars page, and you can see more information about all these features. There are 3 editions of DotNetNuke. We've been looking at Enterprise Edition, but the mobile features that we saw, everything that you saw is available in the Professional and Enterprise Edition. Community Edition has a couple of the views, but it doesn't have the elite data, it doesn't have the page templates and things like that. But Professional and Enterprise Edition are fully paid commercial solutions, so they're built and they have all those additional features for mission critical and business critical websites, and include many other things as I showed you just a moment ago. But the most important thing is you get unlimited online technical support from .NET Nuke. With Community Edition, it's great. It's deployed in hundreds of thousands of websites, and it's free and open source for you, but your support is only available through the .NET Nuke forums. We do have some services available to you too. We have an upgraded version of support called Elite Support, so that's unlimited telephone-based support. You get a guaranteed quicker response time, so you have an SLA for that. And you also get a one-time installation upgrade support call. So we're going to help you get .NET Nuke installed, or we're going to also help you get upgraded. So there's other features of Elite Support as well. So the developer support services. So this is something that is above and beyond what you would typically be your break-fix type of support mechanism. So if you have anything else that you want to talk to our engineers or our staff about that is not related to typical support, this is a great package for you. It's available in blocks of 10 hours, and basically you can have Q&A with whoever based upon your project needs. So if you want to learn about, or if you need to talk to somebody about your development roadmap, or how to do design, or how to tweak your website very specifically for SEO or for performance or any of these things, we have developer support services to help you with that. And then finally, we have training. I mentioned Chris Hammond earlier. He's an author, and he's the director of training programs. He's been doing training for DotNetNuke. He's actually the first trainer that I'm aware of when DotNetNuke was released nearly 10 years ago. He's been doing it since the beginning, and so we're very happy to and proud to have Chris on board. And he gives you training in 3 different ways. There's online webinars, so there's on-demand and monthly webinars that he performs for you. And there's availability for on-site training. So your on-site training can be custom, as well as you can have custom online training. And so those are things that are available to you as well. Now, last thing I'll talk about before I get into Q&A is we do have DNN World coming up. It's coming up very, very quickly, actually. It's October 10th through the 12th. This is our premier event for the year. This is when everybody comes out from all over the world. We literally, we have people from Australia, from Asia, from Europe. So everybody in the world comes together to talk about .NETNuke. And this year, the main conversation is going to be about social, but you're going to have mobile content as well as cloud content. And so if you want to learn about mobile, social, cloud, this is the place to do it. We have lots and lots of sessions, some very great speakers, and through that early bird discount code right there, you can get a discount off the normal price there. So go ahead and check that out. And then we also have voting for Site of the Year contest going on our website right now, as well as .NETNuke Super Fan Contest. So make sure you check those out and go ahead and vote for your favorites. We obviously are all these social areas. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, look us up. We have more web seminars. I mentioned those a few times. There's a free online demo. It's a very hassle-free installation. Basically, you can fill out a form, click a button, you're in .NETNuke, so go ahead and take advantage of that. And then once again, DNN World. So let me go ahead and start looking at our questions and answers and getting you some answers right. It'll be just a moment as I kind of get this window open for me. All right, here we go. All right, here. There's a lot of exciting posts. That's awesome. I'm glad everybody's excited. All right, this is a great question. Is there any potential for the mobile site features to be added to older versions of .NETNuke? We currently are running, in basically they say a version of version 5. There is actually not going to be any, the ones that are part of the core are not going to be backported to that edition. If these mobile website capabilities in the earlier version of .NETNuke, you would either have to have them built for you or look in the .NETNuke store and try to find something comparable. Let's see here. So a couple of questions. Does .NETNuke, the Community Edition, that's the free edition, can it be used to create a mobile website? Absolutely. There's nothing to prevent you from doing that. It's just you're going to be limited in some of the features. Many of the features that you saw today are not going to be available in Community Edition by default, but the API will be there. You're not going to have all the device definitions. Those are reserved for the commercial editions. However, you can purchase those out of our store. The other thing is you do have the redirect view, but you're not going to have all the device definitions in the drop-down list. So you can do that. And I also mentioned that those extensions that are available for the earlier versions of .NETNuke, they should work just fine on version 6 as well. .NETNuke's always been known to be very backwards compatible. There's modules out there that were built for version 3 that still function today. Let's see here. Oh, this is a fantastic question. I love this question. So can .NETNuke be used to develop mobile apps? Now, one of the things that I didn't go over today is .NETNuke does have a services framework, or excuse me, a web services framework. And there's going to be a lot more information about that once again at DNN World in the next month. But by using that services framework, it doesn't matter what the other application or the other device is. You can be able to talk to .NETNuke using any type of phone or device or whatever. Any other application, doesn't matter if it's on the Windows stack or not, because the web services framework basically nullifies all that information. It's basically REST-based, and you can talk to your .NETNuke site. You can also build your own web services based upon it, and so it doesn't matter if what those other applications are. And what the great thing about that is for you is that it allows you to have a single place to manage all of your content, all of your features, all of these things that are important to you in your organization with branding and the messaging for your marketing and all those things. You can do that all from one spot, and then that can be disseminated across all these different devices and platforms. And so it makes it incredibly easy for you to do that. All right, so will the mobile website auto-update from the parent site so that you do not have to update two separate websites with the same information? That's a fantastic question. One of the things I talked about in the last webinar was there's a lot of reasons why you want to actually do that. Yes, it's more work, but it shouldn't be a duplication. You should not be copying word for word your content from your desktop site to your mobile site. Can you? Absolutely. There's nothing to prevent you from doing that. But as a best practice, what you should be doing instead is actually giving information to people in mobile context. So you wouldn't have the same chunk of text or the same features or hopefully not even the same pages on your mobile version of your site that you have on your desktop version. But you can do that. There's many ways to share content from site to site. There's built-in ways and there's also third-party ways. So if that's something that you want to do, there's nothing to prevent you from doing that. Let's see here. So basically there's a question here about the device repository. How does it get updated? It gets updated over port 80, so you don't have to worry about firewalls or anything. But it's not done during the upgrade. It just automatically happens for you. In fact, I didn't look at the date, but I think mine updated last night. So it was I didn't have to do anything; it just did it. But basically in that update, you're going to have any new devices that have been out there. You're going to have, and there's literally many hundred, I think there's like several 100,000 devices that are in that repository. But you're going to have any new devices come out in that update, as well as any device capability changes or additions that might be part of that. All right, how are pop-ups handled for mobile devices, or do the pop-ups need to be turned on or off? If you're going to have people editing content on your mobile devices, you would absolutely want to turn pop-ups off for your mobile device, or excuse me, for the mobile version of your site. And you can do that in your site settings. So if you log in as an administrator, you go to your admin menu that is in your control panel, and in site settings there's a checkbox to turn off the pop-ups. Yeah, there's a question about platform role not being in Community Edition. That's part of the premium data versus the light data that one's built into the Professional and Enterprise Edition, and in Community Edition, that's something that you have to purchase separately. Let's see here. We have plenty of questions. Do mobile versions of .NET sites support pinch on iOS devices? Basically, if you can support anything that there is a website, or excuse me, a web tool for. So go ahead and take a look at there's like jQuery Mobile, there's different things like that. There's Kendo UI and so on. There's a lot of different tools out there that allow you to take advantage of mobile gestures and get the full mobile experience on your website. And all of those things can be integrated with .NETNuke. I didn't show those today. It's a little bit more advanced, but you can do all those things. I should have mentioned it. There's a question here about if you have a very custom website, how do you translate it to a mobile or tablet, for the content, for pages and things. Basically, that's you have a project ahead of you because you already have an existing website. So how do you do that if you have a lot of custom content? And basically, what I just gave you is an overhead view of all the different ways that you would need to approach this for your existing website. So you're going to want to take your design into consideration. So get your designer involved. Show them the features. You can find all of the information about the design and the API in our wiki. So you can go to wiki.dotnetnuke.com. And you can see all this this information there. Just go to the 6.1 developer starting area. It's right up there, right there on the wiki homepage. And then with your custom modules, you may want to customize how those look. So your designer probably be involved there a little bit, but more importantly, you're going to want to also target based upon these capabilities as well there. Using the API and taking advantage of that to customizing things. You can't really tell you how to do it without knowing everything about your project, but you will want to take those into consideration. There's a question about, is there any documentation on this? We do have user manuals and super user manuals available for free, and you can download them right from our website. Just go to the resources area on DotNetNuke.com, and you can find the user and super user manual. You'll find the documentation for these features there. And then the API-related documentation you'll find, once again, in the wiki, so wiki.dotnetnuke.com. Somebody confirmed. I had the latest date from yesterday. Thank you. Oh, this is a great question. So we mentioned, and yeah, this might be our last question. We're running out of time here. Is it possible when you add on, basically we're talked about add-ons coming from the .NET store, so you can have mobile features from the store. One of the things that you want to pay attention to, though, is whether or not, or how it updates its device data and what device data it has. Because they don't all do it the same way. They won't all give you the same information, and they won't all have the most recent information. So you want to do your due diligence, and there's a large handful of mobile add-ons out there in the store. So make sure you pick some that look like they're going to work for you, and go ahead and test them out. And then see if they work for you if you're not on 6.1 yet. And the other thing to pay attention to there, if you're going to use that, one of the things I would suggest that you do is, moving forward, make sure you talk to whoever the organization is that develops the one you choose, and ask them, are they going to be integrating with the API in version 6.1, because then you'd be able to take advantage of all the same core features and functionality, as well as the same device definitions. That could be important too. And I think we're going to wrap up the questions right now. There's a couple that we're going to get to on offline, including the IMC question that's come up a few times, so I'll get to you. So I'm not skipping by you. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up the webinar, and thank you very much, everybody, for attending today. I really appreciate your time. I know it's very valuable, and so every minute you spend with us, we greatly appreciate that. So enjoy the rest of your days, evenings, whatever you happen to be doing, and have. Oh yeah, by the way, this was recorded, and we will be sending you a link to the recording within the next 24 or 48 hours. So thank you once again for attending, and look forward to that link as well as the other links we mentioned. And bye.